The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day after the market close. Tom takes your phone calls from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time using the data available at that time.
Let's go to a Bill in Boca Raton. Hey, Bill, what's going on?
Not too much. Enjoying the warm weather in Florida just like you, except on the other coast.
Perfect, man. Perfect.
Yep.
Do you listen on the internet right now?
Yes.
Cool, man. Cool.
No, I enjoy that. That's in your Tiger TV and everything. I've been watching you for years, and you've really taken this whole programming to a level that's just phenomenal.
I appreciate it.
And now, here's Tom O'Brien.
Good day, traders. Hi, folks. Welcome to the Tom O'Brien Show. I'm your guest host, Steve Rhodes, filling in for Tom, and I'm coming to you live from the TFNN Radio and Television Network. Television Network, folks, because you can go to the front page of TFNN.com. You can click on Channel 1. You can, I believe it's a live feed right now, and you can catch this show live. And what would be great is that you'll be able to take a look at the charts that I've got. If you're in the den, you're going to see the actual live charts. If you're not in the den, you're able to watch this show, and you're going to be able to take a look at exactly what it is that I'm looking at from a technical standpoint. You're able to give me a call at 877-927-6648. We'll go ahead and take a look at your chart as well. And, folks, I do a radio show here 2 days a week. You can catch my show. It's called The Trader's Edge, and I do a show from 12 to 1 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so please check me out there. Did a great show this morning. And if you like what you hear, today, go back and check out some of the archive shows. I do some unique things and all good things. Now, folks, I absolutely love being here with you. This is my favorite time of the day, is being here with you folks. I know the value of your time, and I really appreciate your presence, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Now, folks, my life is driven by what I call the ant philosophy. And now, good question. You might be saying, what the heck is the ant philosophy, Steve? Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because you see, the ant philosophy is a four-part belief system, and it's a four-part belief system for success. Belief number one, folks, think about this. Ants never quit. If an ant is headed somewhere and you try to stop them, what happens? They will look for another way. They'll climb over whatever you put in front of them. They'll climb under whatever you put down there. They'll climb around. They will keep looking for another way. Think about it, folks. Never quitting. Looking for another way to get to where it is you want to go. That is rule number one. Belief number two, ants think winter all summer long. This, folks, is so important. It's such an important perspective because summer doesn't last forever. Ants gather their winter food in the middle of summer. That's belief number two. Belief number three, ants think summer all winter. Just the opposite. This is even more important because during winter, the ants remind themselves that this won't last long. They keep saying, we'll soon be out of here. And the first warm day, folks, what do? They come on out. And if it turns cold again, they dive right back down. But as soon as it warms up, folks, they can't wait to get out. Belief number four, listen to this. How much will an ant gather during summer to prepare for winter? All they possibly can. This, my friends, is the way to live. Never give up. Always look ahead. Focus on what you want. Stay positive, and most importantly, do all you can do. Folks, this is the way to live. It's just that simple. Let's go look at what our markets are doing out there, folks. We had the Dow finish up 201. It closed at 12,586, and the Dow is now headed to 12,655. Then I think it's going to be headed even higher, and if it crosses the B point, folks, the Dow could be headed up to 13,211. The S&P closed up 21 points to 1326. Its next move is just above it here at 1333. Then it's going to be headed to 1356, and if it crosses its B point on an ABC, the S&P is headed to 1394. We had the NASDAQ up 61 points, closed at 2826. It's headed to 2850 on its next stop, then off to 2879. If it can cross that B point, folks, it's on its way to 3,023. And we had the Russell up 18.51. Finished the day at 834. It's headed now to 841, and then on to the B point. If it crosses the B point, it'll go on its way to 899. Folks, let's see. Let's take a look at what else we had out here. We had, let's take a look at gold. We had silver down at $1.43. In fact, let's go over to the silver contract. When I was doing my show today, I had one of the listeners from the Den asked if I thought that silver was a good point to short. And right now what I've got up on my screen, folks, is the silver contract. And I had indicated to him I thought the way that silver had taken off and the way that it had passed its the area right here around $39 looked to me like silver's next stop was going to be at about $43. Well, I'm here to tell you I was wrong, because what silver did today, it sold off. It was started to sell off, before my show at 12 noon, but continued to sell off. The reason why I want to pull up the silver contract is because what it did today, first it made an AB equals CD pattern, a 1 to 1.618. And when you do that, typically you have a reversal. Now, what we also did today, if you take a look at my chart patterns here, silver made a bearish engulfing pattern. So we'll see how silver trades tomorrow. But this candle pattern is really important. It's important for you to take a look at. It's more important because we just made an A to B equals C to D. And if you go take a look at the gold contract, now the gold contract here, what did that trade down to? We had gold down to down $15.40 today. Now, if you were listening, Tom and I did a couple shows together last week we were filling in for Bud. And when we were doing that show, we were talking about how we thought gold was going to go up to the 1609 area, 1608.70 to be exact. Now, what gold did yesterday, gold got up to a high of 1607.90, almost made it. What did it do today? Intraday today, it got up to a high of 1610.70 and then gave it up. Now, on the gold contract, on the continuous contract, it also has made a bearish engulfing pattern. And that's really important because what we had gold doing, we had gold making this expansion. And, folks, I utilize Fibonacci expansion and retracement theory. It's sacred geometry. It's amazing how these markets move towards these numbers. This is something you really want to get your head wrapped around because it is so beautiful how it works, because that's how Tom and I were able to sit here a week ago. It was probably a week ago today, and say it looks like where gold is headed to is around the 1610 area. And when we were taking a look at, we were looking at the Fibonacci expansion, folks, that was going all the way from June 22nd. The high there was in the 1559 area, and it made a low coming back into July 1st. July 1st happened to be our last new moon time frame, and the low that it made there was 1478. If you take that mathematical difference between those two swing points, multiply it times 1.618, that'll take you out to that 1610 area. But what's also just as important is you go back and you take a look at the swing point from May 2nd. May 2nd is when we made our highs in most of the indexes here in the U.S. market. And if you take the high there that we made in gold, that was 1577, and you go all the way down to the swing point on May 5th, the low there, folks, was 1462. You take that difference and you multiply that times 1.272, you will also get to that 1610 area. 1.272, 1.618, those are Fibonacci numbers. Those are expansion numbers. Those are numbers you really want to get your head wrapped around. Doesn't matter whether you're a mathematician or you're not. All it is a relatively simple multiplication problem. Most charting software packages have these Fibonacci tools so that you can see what's going on. And I'll teach you, if you listen in on my show or you subscribe to my newsletters, I will teach you how to use sacred geometry, how to identify these patterns. This is what's called a butterfly pattern that has come out there. So you got a butterfly pattern that has also made a bearish engulfing at the top. It's really important to keep our eye there. Now, what's really going to be interesting here is because I'm looking for the market to go up. I'm looking for the market to go up, folks, because if you aren't familiar with my work, back on May 31st, I started sharing with the listeners of my show the lunar cycle, folks. And if you want to go to the front page of TFNN.com, you'll see under breaking news, I believe you can still download the lunar cycle chart that I posted. I think it might have been posted right around the July 1st time frame. And what you'll see there is you'll see a strategy that has a 70% win rate. It's a strategy. There's a trading strategy behind it, and that trading strategy behind it is producing about a 40% return. And it's all about understanding how to buy on the full moon, sell on the new moon. But it's a little bit more involved with that. And my newsletter service covers all of that. Again, go to the homepage of TFNN and take a look at it. Now, yesterday was actually Friday was a full moon cycle. And my subscribers knew that we were not going to be buying Friday's action. And they knew that because of a webcast that I had done a couple days before, because I really study the probability. I really understand, and I call myself a master of probability. I love numbers. I love taking a look at patterns. This is all pattern recognition, and I love it when our back is up against the wall when we take a trade. That's what we did yesterday. We took a portion of our trade right as the S&P was making its 0.618 retracement, which was just a few pennies below where we got to a low yesterday. The low yesterday came in at 1295.92. Right at about 12:30, I sent out my first alert for our team, for our subscribers, to go ahead and fire away at a portion of their position. I was looking for the S&P to possibly even pull down to as low as 1279 based on the volume patterns. But when I saw us come in at that 0.618, it was time to go ahead and put part of our trade on the table. We did, and then we put the rest of the trade on the table at 3 o'clock. And on the S&P, folks, what we were trading there was the SSO. Now, when you have the retracement, when you start taking a look at the retracement, these 0.618s, that's what I call price. And when you're buying a full moon, in this case here, that's the strategy that's in effect right now. You want the price to come right back down into you. And what you really want it to do is you want it to start coming back down into one of these Fibonacci retracement levels, either the 618 or the 786. And in this case here, we got the 618. And let me tell you, folks, nobody was bullish yesterday. I couldn't find anybody that was bullish. I don't think I could find anybody with inside the TFNN contributors that was bullish. But I knew what we were looking for, because these lunar patterns, folks, what they are is they are indicators. They are future indicators. They are not lagging indicators. And when you use the mastering probability techniques, when you use the money management techniques that I teach my subscribers, folks, that's when it makes taking these trades somewhat of a no-brainer. Now, let's go quickly here, and let's go take a look at the other markets and see what they did. Now, the S&Ps, folks, they are definitely the weakest, because they're the ones that retrace to the 0.618. If we take a look at the Dow, we go over to the Dow right now. The Dow did not make it down to the 0.618 yesterday area. In fact, the Dow made it, I don't even think it made it to the 0.50 area. And what we did here, real quickly, let me take a look. Yeah, it was pretty much just below, maybe it was about the 0.50 retracement area. And then obviously it took off from there. Now what the Dow is doing right now, folks, if you take a look at this, is if you go from the swing point here that the Dow made on July 7th all the way to the low that we made yesterday, what the Dow did was made a big, huge upthrust. It crushed right through this 0.382, which was 12,471, right through the 0.618, which was 12,579. That's why, as I began the show, I said the next stop for the Dow is going to be 12,655. And then it'll go out and it'll test the top of that July 7th swing point, folks. Folks, our call-in number here is 877-927-6648. Give me a call. We can take a look at anything you'd like. We'll be right back, folks.